All right. We are live. Welcome to 6G Agenda. I'm your host, Andrew, as always, here to talk about what they won't. And I see some people are excited as I am about this episode. We got some people in the chat waiting on this. Very excited. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. So, as you could tell, we've got a exciting episode ahead. Hopefully you guys saw, there should be, I don't know if it stayed there. I made a Q&A, and I also made a poll down there in the live chat. If it's not there, go ahead and let me know. If it's, it's first time doing that. I went and looked and I didn't see it, but maybe you guys can see it. It's a Q&A, a little question I threw in there to see, in a poll. But otherwise, if not, no big deal. We'll try it again another time. Welcome in. Welcome for the new member. We got a new member. Let's go. Gaylord Fokker. Meet the Fokkers, dude. Holy shit, what a classic. Ben Stiller, man. Bell Labs. The Bell Labs, big topic I talked about on Tinfoil Hat. Bell Labs is actually created by Ben Stiller. So yeah, very interesting cat. I enjoy his work. Anyway, what's up, Murray? What's up, TNT? How we doing? Waiting for King and Kings. Got you in the building. What's up, man? You made another live. Excited to see what we dug up. Well, some people aren't going to love my take on this, and some people are. I don't know. John G. Trump. We will be talking about him, the uncle of Trump. He did get Tesla's research, and he did get to analyze it, and apparently he even understood it. So that is interesting. I wonder if he found anything interesting. I'm sure he did. Apparently that, as we'll talk about, that equipment got handed over rather, to JPL Laboratories, of course, who no other than Jack Parsons worked at. And of course, we know about the Babalon Workings. Now, that's some wild stuff. BLAP, BLAP, BLAP. Yeah, TNT. I thought about not using that in the title. Somebody mentioned that yesterday. And, I almost feel like Nephilim Death Squad owns the word. But we're going to use it just once. BLAP to the future. The Trump time travel theory is a good secondary title. So when are they going to roll out the Bronze Age gods? Well, we'll be getting into that because I think a lot of this time travel rhetoric, a lot of this stuff about, Trump being a time traveler and all these anomalies that are coming up regarding the White House correspondent shooter, I think all that stuff is leading to the externalization of the hierarchy, which is something I talked about recently. And that's getting us to believe in these aliens. So we'll pretty much believe in these Bronze Age gods. They are the same thing. Welcome in, Nephunter. How you doing, boss? Nephunter sent me a episode we'll be using today. A little clip we'll be checking on. How we doing, Evil Glare? For the free feed, my apologies. We'll be through this in just a minute. Flux, how we doing, boss? Gnosticism is the new Bronze Age gods. That's exactly right. The old Atlantis will be coming back. The Atlantean gods will be coming back for sure. The God Kings, the CEO God Kings. People are starting to realize that praxis is a problem. And praxis, I've tried to point out, is Curtis Yarvin's patchwork, which I've spoken about. It is just the same thing. CEO ran cities. Smart cities, essentially ran by a CEO king. This is what they want for this new Atlantean age of AI ran cities with the little CEO king over top, like a little god. Craig, what up, Craig? All right, let's get it going. Welcome in. Thank you for the free feed. If you sat through that, if I didn't get Justin to cut this out, I apologize. We do have a time travel episode on our hands today. BLAP to the future, the Trump time travel theory. We will be covering the Philadelphia experiment, a little bit of Camp Hero and Montauk, so we could give context to the Tesla theory regarding John G. Trump that took the Tesla equipment after he died. And allegedly, this is what makes it possible for Trump to be a time traveler. And then we will talk about the anomalies. The anomalies would be The King of the Jews, which is a book by Leslie Epstein that was in the Epstein files that pretty much talks about what seems to be a character that's very much like Trump that takes over the world. We'll also be talking about Back to the Future, the airship painting I'm sure you guys have heard of. There's an airship from the 1800s that had Trump 45, 47 on it, which are his presidential administrations. So there's a lot to cover here, and there's a lot to go over. We're going to have a great time. And of course, we will be talking about Ingersoll Lockwood. I've uncovered some weird stuff about that as well. So strap in, get ready. We are going to have a great time. And I'm telling you, man, get yourself secured. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver, code 6G. Get yourself a little gold sent to your house, low as 50 bucks a month. Highly recommend. The de-dollarization is happening. As a matter of fact, like I always call it, what do I call it? I call it the controlled demolition of the global economy and the global world. Really, everything is happening. So keep that in mind. Let me see what I got here. I got some notes, and we will get going. 1 second. So thank you everybody for coming. I'm really glad you could all make it. Memberships. This will be going into our members only. I had a request to try to get these posted faster on Patreon. I will do my best. We'll try to stream these out to Patreon too. So there's, they're in the archive already. So, all right. Mind Wars. We'll be going into that again with William Ramsey tomorrow, Monday. And what else we got? Mystery Babylon. I will be starting that next week. Get ready for that revamp of Bill Cooper's Mystery Babylon. So, a lot has been said about time travel surrounding Trump. And so we're going to talk about, let's talk about the tweet first, okay? So we know about the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Now, guys, I really, this is important. This part I'm going to talk about here. This is something that you aren't going to hear anybody else talk about, as we do here always. We talk about what they won't. Let's talk about the tweet. If you aren't familiar, I'll pull it up real quick. Hold on a second. Let me pull it up so everybody could see this tweet. I've kind of spoken about it already in another stream, and that will be coming out later for those who haven't seen it. But this is important. So this tweet, I'm going to show you, remind you, and then we'll talk about what I think is going on with this tweet. Because I think there's a lot more to this that meets the eye. So let's add this to the stage. So here we go. So you guys have seen there's this cover photo that is on well, let me go ahead and go here. This person right here, Pepe the Frog, is the profile picture for this. Go ahead. I'll go ahead and look him up. Henry Rodriguez, I believe is his name. Henry Martinez, rather. So Henry Martinez had one tweet in 2023 that said Cole Allen, December 21st. Kekius Maximus is the photo here, as you can see. And somebody overlaid the photo of Butler Hill, and they're trying to say that this painting here is an overlay. I didn't see. I thought that they uncovered that this was over top of the picture, but it's not. Somebody just put the picture over top, and they're trying to say that it's like hiding it, but it's not really proven. Now let's talk about the tweet itself. This tweet itself, first of all, how did it get discovered right away? That's what I'm wondering. So instantly it got discovered. I wonder if there's a way to figure out who was the first person to notice this person tweet this out. Now, what I'm getting at here is it is possible. Now, hear me out here. All right. This is important. It is possible to backdate the metadata for a tweet. I think it's very possible that this tweet here, the metadata was backdated. Let's go ahead and look this up. Metadata backdated by X, the company. They can do it. I'll show you guys. So my point is, if they backdate the tweets, because think about it, Elon Musk literally had Kekius Maximus as his, profile picture for a while. And And then they turn around and, they use the same profile picture for this. So I think it's like he's unoriginal. He didn't even use a different profile picture. I think that this is a psyop that's being done. And I think that it's a backdated tweet. So let's see here. Look at this. This data set includes metadata for 2.8 billion records, but no passwords were leaked. So there's a breach that was done by a former Twitter employee. But I'm trying to see if they can backdate the metadata, because I looked it up and maybe I should go ahead and screen grab it and send it to myself, because they definitely can, which is crazy. So think about that. So maybe they just went ahead and backdated a tweet so that way people would think that this time travel situation is real, because then this photo came off of a website called Time Machine. So this gets back to the Mind Wars kind of concept that I'm talking about. And so when we're talking about the missing scientists that were involved with this technology, and, we have Amy Eskridge talking about time travel and these P-52s and everything else, I think that that's what we're building up to a little bit here. And so, let's go ahead and, we could check, like, this is kind of the mainstream thing that is what I'm kind of pointing at here. Everybody's talking about this right now. Exactly. Here we are talking about it. Exactly, dude. And but here's the difference. We're going to debunk it. I'm just going to go ahead and try to debunk it with you guys. We're going to talk about the Philadelphia experiment and poke some holes in that. And we're going to talk about everything else. So check this out. This is what everybody's, this is the mainstream thing now. This is Trump. He's a time traveler. Tesla, John G. Trump. So let's listen to this. And then we're going to go ahead and go through all these bullet points. And we'll go ahead and poke holes in this situation here. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I do think that these people are telling the future in a weird way, but I don't think it's through time travel. I think that there might be some occult channeling involved and things like that. But we'll talk about that as we go along.
To science fiction. This much because a screen that was once in this spot was now on another spot. So when he turned, they missed.
Now she's talking about him getting shot in the ear. How could he have known?
Coincidence? Fine. The book Baron Trump and the Underground Adventures mentions stuff that is really happening now. And it was written in the 1800s. Okay, another coincidence. So my question is this. Did Donald Trump inherit something from his uncle? Beyond wealth. Something from another timeline? All right, so let's talk about the Baron Trump books. Is this a prophecy or programming? Let's rewind back to the 1800s. An author named Lockwood published some books that are too weird to be ignored. Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, and another one called The Last President. It ties in with the Trump prophecy as well. So these fictional tales star a young aristocrat named Baron Trump, who lives in a building, wait for it, called Trump Castle. Travels to Russia, guided by a man named Don. Y'all remember when Trump went to Russia and Putin gave him a soccer ball and everybody thought that there was like secret information in that soccer ball. And then Trump said, oh, I'm going to give this to Baron, because Baron was this genius with a really high IQ. I mean, we all heard the stories. So in the book, he's involved in secret missions and underground world. While in the book, The Last President, America faces an unexpected political upheaval after a populist outsider becomes president. Come on. There are too many coincidences. Too much of a coincidence here, too much of a...
All right, anyway, so that's the going narrative right here, okay? And, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about, dude? I mean, everybody's literally talking about this, and I'm airing it all out. What the hell am I going to talk about? Well, I'm going to talk about how a lot of this shit is kind of bullshit, except for the Ingersoll Lockwood situation. It's kind of weird. Now, I will ask you, Jeremy, I just saw your comment here. Have you had The Last Prez today? I'm assuming you're saying, have I read it? I haven't read it, but have you? I've read some of it, and I think that, I've read about the protest that happened in New York City right after a president gets, put in, which was a businessman, con man, very much like Trump. It seems to be predicting what's going on with this. Set in a chaotic New York after controversial election. There's a lot of civil unrest, societal collapse. It talks about Fifth Avenue, which is where Trump Tower is. And then the tone is kind of satirical and political more than like prophetic. It's kind of a joke, but there's a lot of this instability narrative and focuses a lot on political upheaval and elite struggle with power. And that's kind of the basis of that book there. Okay, hold on a second. Let me point this out. I don't do crypto donations. I do I would prefer to do cash donations, but obviously that's not safe to send. So we unfortunately are stuck with PayPal, things like that. Of course, with the Palantir Mafia, the PayPal Mafia. Buy me a coffee. Of course, we do. You can support us through Patreon and also Venmo, the 6G Agenda. You can find us, at the 6G Agenda on Venmo. Yeah, kind of sucks. But I just don't trust the digital currency stuff. Not that I trust any of the other apps that I just named off either, but just want to point that out. Anyway, so let's get it going. All right, so let's talk about all these books. Let's talk about, I'm trying to figure out which one to go to first. Let's talk about Tesla. I think Tesla is a good way to kind of get in here. All right, this is going to be a little bit of a deep dive into multiple topics here. So the Philadelphia experiment. For those who aren't familiar, this is done in October 28th, 1943. We just entered World War II. There was something called USS Eldridge, okay? USS Eldridge was docked, and it was newly commissioned. There were several large generators. They were powerful enough to generate a invisibility field through electromagnetic, waves. So there was a murky green haze, according to a man named Carl Allen, who was a merchant mariner that was kind of a witness to this. And he wrote a letter to a physicist or some scientist that wrote a book about some kind of UFOs. And he thought, oh, this guy would really be interested in this thing I witnessed. Turned out this was all kind of bullshit, and he didn't actually witness this. Or at least he didn't witness, exactly what he said. So the ship disappears. It pops up 250 miles away by Virginia. The weird thing is it arrived 10 minutes earlier in Virginia than it disappeared in Philadelphia. When it came back to Philadelphia, which it had spent hours in Virginia, it came back 20 minutes earlier in Philly. When it rematerialized, now this is the part you guys probably are familiar with, right? There was fused bodies to the ship. There was burnt people. People went insane or disappeared altogether. So there's other strains of the story where people said that, they went to a hospital in a different year and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of it turned out to not be true. So, that day, USS Eldridge was actually in New York. But in October 43, there was a lot of actual cloaking going on, some technology going on with naval scientists trying to do something called, let me go ahead and pull that up for you, something called Operation Rainbow. I don't know if you've heard about that. Let me see if I can find it. Operation Rainbow, or maybe it was Project Rainbow, but cloaking. 19, I want to say that was 48. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So there was an alleged top secret program codenamed Operation Rainbow that carried out under auspices of Albert Einstein. This was in accordance with the unified field theory, and its objective was to test alien invisibility technology. So this goes into the same thing, right? So here we go here. It was reducing the radar cross section. So this was the Lockheed Martin U-2 and trying to lower the chance that it could be detected by Soviet radars. So the Soviets continued to track the U-2. It didn't work. Now, who knows what they did with this kind of technology and this kind of, whatever. But what I'm saying is this particular thing didn't quite work, but they were using electromagnetic energy to reflect an object to try to kind of throw off a radar for anti-radar technology. So this is the kind of stuff that they were actually training on. And he probably did see and witness them doing some of that. But allegedly nobody actually. So this whole thing is contingent on, did the Philadelphia experiment actually involve time travel? Because if Nikola Tesla, let's look up Nikola Tesla time travel, because he didn't create, he created electromagnetic like doomsday ray, or like a death ray, and all kinds of crazy shit. The closest they got to time travel was in Camp Hero, when they were doing the Montauk experiments, and they were doing a lot of astral projection, things like that, things that we've kind of went over a lot in the show, through a lot of brainwashing experience, mind altering experience, things like that. So anyway, Nikola Tesla. There was a little bit of a conspiracy involving a time travel experiment, but I'm pretty sure that was the Philadelphia experiment was the only one, which again is contingent on this one guy that turned out to be full of shit. So apparently Tesla too was obsessed with time travel. He worked on a time machine and reportedly succeeded, saying, "I could see the past, present, and future all at the same time." Now, he said, "I could see the past, present, and future all at the same time." I think this was a channeling thing that he was doing. And I actually will do more research into Tesla. We'll do a Tesla deep dive on its own, and we will uncover a lot of this, if what he actually did here. But right now, we're just talking about the theme of Trump and time travel right now, and debunking a little bit of this. Or not debunking it. Who knows? Maybe, who cares? So in 1905, Albert Einstein published the theory of relativity, creating a buzz in the scientific community. This opened up a page for many questions, such as, is time travel a possibility? So Eric von Daniken, in the Bible, the prophet Jeremiah was sitting together with a few of his friends, and there was a young boy. His name was Abimelech. And Jeremiah said to Abimelech, "Go out of Jerusalem. There is a hill, and collect some figs for us." The boy went out and collected fresh figs. All of a sudden, Abimelech hears noises and wind in the air, and he becomes unconscious. He had a blackout. After a time, he wakes up again, and he saw it was nearly evening. So when he runs back to society and city was full of strange soldiers, he says, "What's going on here? Where are Jeremiah and all the others?" And an old man that was 62 years old, it's a time travel story written in the Bible, allegedly, von Daniken says. So what chapter is this that he's talking about? I would love to know what chapter he's talking about, dude, because that is interesting. Because Ben from End of the World News said, "I wonder if this is extra biblical, like if this is not inside of it, the Bible." Who knows? We'll have to look into it later. This is all getting into this whole ancient alien thing. So it seems that Nikola Tesla may have worked on time travel before modern science thought it was possible. In 1895, Tesla made a shocking discovery suggesting time and space could be influenced by magnetic fields. This idea, allegedly, that one could alter space and time by magnetic fields, led to a number of experiments. This allegedly gave birth to the infamous Philadelphia Project. Considered mostly a hoax, it is believed that Tesla worked on the idea of time travel, discovering amazing results along the way. He used magnetic fields, and he found that space-time barrier could be altered and accessed by creating a Trojan horse, which eventually led to a different time. It is unclear whether or not Tesla actually achieved this. There are no documents to prove it. So it is possible that there is something that was understood by John G. Trump that maybe he passed on to JPL Laboratory, and we have the NASA occult Nazis and everything else working there. And so who knows? I mean, we're going to get into it. So that's about it. So there's no documents that could really back any of this up at the moment. So we just have to go off hearsay. So that's always fun. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this clip here that I have, which kind of breaks down a little bit of this time travel scenario with Trump. So Philadelphia experiment does contingent on a lot of tomfoolery. And so we have to kind of believe in the Philadelphia experiment in order to assume that this is real. So that's one thing to remember, is that when you can't like confirm, I mean, I'm not saying that there's nothing there, but there's not much there. So just keep that in mind, because this could be all a big psyop. I mean, we have people like Michael Aquino, Paul Vallely, the Satanic Church, with L. Ron Hubbard, connected to the Process Church with Charles Manson and mind control. So there's a lot of weird connections with the Satanic Church, the people that did the Babalon workings, people connected to NASA, and people connected to this, obviously, who's trying to out all this time travel and alien UFO stuff like that. So beware is all I'm saying. Let's see if I can find, man, where is this clip at? I'll have to find it here. But okay, so let's pull this up. This is kind of what I'm pointing out here. The point of the PSYOP, if there was a PSYOP going on, I think that the point of the PSYOP is to get people to believe in this alien UFO plasma technology, free energy concept. And so let's pull this up so I can back up my claims here. Okay, so this is from the confessionals, and I had a listener send this to me. So shout out Tim. He sent this over here. We're going to check this out. And I skipped into 30 minutes in. This is right after they're talking about the tweet that we went over. You know, and we're going to go over that a little bit more when it comes to the shooter as we get into the JPL stuff. So give me a minute with that, but let's check this out. Because they're talking about what I'm trying to get at, which is this is what the PSYOP's all about, is to get people to think that this is kind of what's behind the anomalies that we're seeing. Because what they're doing is creating anomalies by backdating a tweet and by, you know, having a book that came out and having, you know, Tesla experiments with John G. Trump. These are all anomalies that lead one to kind of believe in this thing. And where is that leading us is all I'm saying. I'm just trying to take the thought forward a little bit and say, where are they taking our opinions? All right, let's check this out.
Aspect of foreknowledge being portrayed and drawn out.
Let me know if you can hear this.
X account. And people are saying, and rightfully so, to be honest with you, the world that we're living in, like, I think 20 years ago, if this kind of situation unfolded, people would be like, let's not jump to conclusions. Mm-hmm. Now, I think rightfully so, people are jumping to time traveler. Like, I mean, it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes more sense than anything else in today's world. You know, like we're talking about the government telling us aliens are real, UFOs are coming down, taking us, human hybrid programs. These are all things that either the government's saying now or people within the government are saying.
Now, the guy, we've talked about this, but I'll go over this again. Cole Allen, who worked as an intern at JPL, he worked as an intern at JPL during the time that a man named Henry Martinez worked there. And Henry Martinez published a paper the same year. And that same year, now again, if you were the government, you could easily go, okay, this guy published a paper. We're going to create an X account that says Henry Martinez, and we're going to post Cole Allen, and we're going to program Cole Allen to go in and do this or whatever. And then Cole Allen gets taken down. Let's see the photo where he gets taken down. Because you have the black cube of time, right? The black cube. Let's look at this. This is the floor where he got captured on. The black cube, right? So this is the black cube of time. The Saturnalian cube right here. Okay, so, and it was inside of where Reagan, you know, had an assassination attempt. I mean, come on, man. So, you know, it's not for nothing here. Okay, so here's the iconic photo where he's right on top of these black cubes of Saturn, which is the god of time. Okay. And he worked at JPL, which is where the Babalon workings occurred, which I've pointed out. I've pointed out on the show that JPL is connected with Jack Parsons and has a lot to do with who got Tesla's equipment and who did the Babalon workings, which created the Moonchild, which I have said 3 months later, Trump was born on a blood moon eclipse. So there is a weird connection with that going on that they're trying to get us to look at. So why are they trying to get us to look at it is all I'm trying to figure out.
Or people that were just in the government have said that all this is happening. So is it a stretch that time travel would enter this equation?
Notice what he just said there. So I want to back it up just a little bit. He said people that were just in the government, all these people that were just in the government are saying UFOs are real, time travel is real. Well, that's the point, guys. They were just in the government. So let's check that out again, because this is how PSYOPs can be. We're taking all these people's words for, like, you know, 100% faith in their words. It makes no sense to me.
around, taking us, human hybrid programs. These are all things that either the government's saying now, or people within the government are saying, or people that were just in the government have said that all this is happening. So is it a stretch that time travel would enter this equation, right? And so this scenario is pointing towards time traveling. Now, guys, just bear with me as this goes on. And if I'm not making sense to you two, please chime in, because this is the first time I'm verbalizing this.
All right, now he's going to start connecting the whole Amy Eskridge situation, what she talked about with the P-52s and how they're us from the future and things like that, which gets a lot into like what Joe Rogan was saying, that he thinks aliens are us from the future, right? So let's check this out. And again, you know, this is kind of leading into this concept where the aliens and this new age kind of digital temple, it all merges together with the externalization of the hierarchy, the new one world religion of Luciferian doctrine. It really all is going to merge together in this weird way by first moving the Overton window of what people think is possible, and then they'll believe in anything that you tell them.
Mind map that I got last night.
Like Amy Eskridge even talks about, like, was it the P-47 and the P-52? Yeah.
P-45.
45.
And 52, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, where like basically it's people that are time traveling thousands of years. And so like this is like their belief in some of these circles around Huntsville, Alabama, that these scientists that they're able to time travel. Also really interesting is, we're going to get into it later, but like this coincides with the document that you shared with me from the CIA.
Yeah.
So,
which, dude, I got to say, having you two guys here on staff is so handy, because you literally make up for what I lack, you know, like that. How many pages is that CIA document?
Oh, we're about 25 pages.
About 25 pages.
Yeah. Of like thick reading.
Listen, I'm here to host the show, hold conversations. I am not reading that thing, but you guys will. And it's great. So,
I fell asleep to it last night.
All right, anyway. So they're just talking about just this concept of these aliens, and it's all CIA document based. So again, you know, we have to rely on the government, the CIA, and all these different things to you know, get our opinion on what we think about aliens and time travel. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where I just think that we got to be careful on where we're letting them lead us with our opinions. So anyway, let's get deeper into this. So Back to the Future, I had this video the other day that was kind of breaking down all the different Back to the Future stuff. But they've even admitted that Biff in Back to the Future was based off of Trump, right? So we know that that's a part of this, right? And inside of there is like, let me pull that out here. So there's time travel, of course, with the DeLorean. You have the mentor, Doc Brown, Marty McFly, all that good stuff. Biff is the powerful figure. He's the villain. So Biff Tannen in part 2 becomes a wealthy casino owner, lives in a gold-plated high-rise, and has major influence over a dystopian version of society. You see that? A major influence over a dystopian version of society. So I guess Mac Miller somehow knew in 2011, right? So in 2011, Mac Miller made his song, right? It's called Take Over the World. It's called Donald Trump, when I'm on my Donald Trump shit, right? So, you know, somehow he knew in 2011 that, you know, here, let me go and pull that up, Mac Miller. I mean, that's crazy, dude. How the fuck did he know? 2011, Donald Trump. I wish I could play this, man. RIP, dude. RIP. Should I play like 2 seconds of it? Here, I play 2 seconds of it. I probably can't. Oh, I am sharing. Oh, I am sharing. Hold on. Ready? Here we're going. Oh, can't do that. Okay, done. See? Done. So there you go. That's a good song. You guys go check that out another time. Anyway, so how the fuck did he know? So, you know, obviously this is something that's been building up for a long time. I think this is a pre-planned thing. You know, obviously the record labels, you know, influence the songs, as we've spoken about. And so, of course, they're going to, you know, get some of these lyrics inside of things. I mean, even as simple as just him being a billionaire, you know, and just saying, hey, I'm going to take over the world like this billionaire. But I don't think it's that innocent. So anyway, Back to the Future. Of course, we have Biff. Let's get back into him. This version of Biff was confirmed by the writers that it was Donald Trump's 1980s public persona version, obviously, of this dude it was, conveyed through Biff. So the film uses him as a warning about power and corruption. So there's a lot of parallel timelines, branching realities. I was trying to see if there's any kind of of course, he's a leader in this dystopian thing, so I think that's a big part of what we're kind of looking at. So then, of course, I kind of want to see somebody related like things to like Jesus and Christ and like nuclear stuff within the Back to the Future thing. It's like a crazy video where people are making a lot of connections through the symbology of the movie. It's very interesting. But let me look at the King of the Jews here. So inside of the Epstein files, there was a book called King of the Jews. Okay. And I don't know if you guys knew about this. Maybe you did. You probably heard about it by now. Epstein files here. Well, one more weird thing before I move on to this. Ingersoll Lockwood, the man who wrote the book, right, of Last President and, the Barron Trump stuff. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. But, Abraham Lincoln was in something called Abraham Lincoln wasn't in it. But, I don't want to spoil this. I'll just do it whenever I talk about Ingersoll Lockwood. I'm just excited because I found that, and I'm just super excited to tell you guys. But you can wait. So here's this book. It's called... Let me pull this up. Here's this book. It's called King of the Jews. A novel of the Holocaust. So it's set by during the Holocaust, but there's a powerful man that comes up out of the Jewish ghetto. And he's described a lot like Trump, and he takes over. People are trying to say that this is all about Trump and shit. I don't know if I 100% sign off on that. But while we're talking about it, let's talk about Leslie Epstein. Because Leslie Epstein looks a lot like Jeffrey Epstein. Not to say that they're like literally related, but I think they might be. Look at him. Kind of similar. So, similar like, maybe cousins or something. You know what I mean? Look at this. Come on, dude. You're going to tell me he's not a cousin to Epstein? Get out of town, dude. Get out of town, dude. That guy's definitely related to him. So anyway, somebody did a lot of genealogy stuff, and there's this guy called Seymour Epstein. Okay? This is going to be a little tricky here, so you just keep up. So Seymour Epstein, I believe, is Jeffrey Epstein's dad here. Hold on here. Let me make sure. Julius Epstein, the son of Bessie Epstein. Let me see here. I think, does it show who his kids were? Yeah. Hold on. Kids? No. Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, so look, you see here? This guy's kid is Jeffrey Epstein, okay? So he got married in 1952, okay? Now, somebody did some great work here. This guy, Seymour Epstein, there's only one picture of him, and that picture is from, like, I think the 40s. Or, no, maybe yeah, never mind. I don't know if there's a picture of him. I think that's a different picture of somebody else. But either way, so there's a picture of... It doesn't matter. So there's two Epstein brothers. Indicted for communism by the Warner Brothers. Watch this. So here, let's see, find this out. Let me see. Warner Brothers. I should have pulled this up before we did this. Okay, so let's see here. Okay. I think this is it. But, okay, long story short, there were some Epsteins that came here from Germany, okay? They came from Epstein, Germany, all right? And they went to Hollywood, and they were very influential in Hollywood. And here we go. This is it. Ready? All right, check this out. Something strange happens when you start lining up the dates around Epstein family timeline. So somebody else broke this down. So hopefully this will have everything I'm trying to tell you. In 1938, the Hollywood screenwriter Philip G. Epstein, one half of the famous Epstein twins, who wrote Casablanca. Okay, so these guys wrote Casablanca, which was a super popular movie. They had their first son, Leslie Epstein. Less than a decade later, Hollywood was thrown into political turmoil. So Leslie Epstein, okay, you know how I said that they're related? Leslie Epstein was the son of these two Epstein twins, one of them, okay? Less than a decade later, Hollywood was thrown into political turmoil when the House of Un-American Activities Committee began investigating communist influence in the film industry. Jack Warner, one of the Warner brothers, testified that communist organizers were active within the writers' circles and labor unions. He pointed at one of the Epstein brothers, Philip Epstein. He was expected to testify, but just months before the testimony could happen, he died of a heart attack at 42. So now check this out, guys. Remember who I talked about a little bit ago, Seymour Epstein? This guy, Seymour Epstein, was listed as the father of Jeffrey Epstein. Seymour Epstein was born in 1917. He was only 8 years younger than Philip Epstein. According to the official biographies, he grew up in New York. He attended college in New York, and he entered the Army in 1941. This is where it gets weird. His trail just disappears after that. So it's possible that he died in the Army. So 1952, the same year that Philip Epstein dies, okay? Philip Epstein, 1952, he died of a heart attack. 1952, the same year, Seymour Epstein suddenly reappears in the historical record, and he gets married, right, in 1953, followed by his brother in 1954. And then despite being described as simple Parks Department groundskeeper, the Epstein family ends up in a nice gated community in Coney Island. So when you start comparing photographs of Leslie Epstein and Jeffrey Epstein and Mark Epstein, the similarities arise, and that's why I said Leslie Epstein looks just like him. So the man who wrote King of the Jews, okay, possibly is literally the cousin or maybe brother, I can't tell if that's brother or cousin, of Jeffrey Epstein, dude. Let's figure that out. Who had him as his son? Philip had one half of the famous twin, had his first son. Oh my God. So Philip Epstein had Leslie Epstein. So this might be another brother of his, dude, because later on he ended up being Seymour Epstein, guys. So, anyways, that is some crazy shit. So I don't know about time travel, but I do know that there are some odd things to find when it comes to the lineage of Jeffrey Epstein. So Jeffrey Epstein marks, okay, so the story gets even stranger when you look at Leslie Epstein's novel, King of the Jews. It centers around a bizarre character named I.C. Trumpelman, a theatrical narcissist leader who builds a cult of personality while claiming to be the savior of his people. Decades later, readers began to notice eerie parallels with Trumpelman and Donald Trump. Is it a coincidence, satire, archetype, or something stranger? What year did King of the Jews come out? Let's find that out. What year did King of the Jews come out? Let's see. Published date. 1979. So that was a year. Okay, so yeah, dude. I mean, Trump was definitely around. And I guess this is when he was considering. I think this is when they planned to put him in, dude. So the video explores the timeline anomalies, the literary parallels. There's a video down here. Yeah, dude, these two might be brothers, man. 1952. Wow. What do you guys think about that, dude? That's some fucking crazy shit, dude. What do you guys think about that? Bringing the sauce tonight. You know it. All right. So, yeah, dude. Leslie Epstein, the guy who wrote King of the Jews, is probably the brother of Jeffrey Epstein. Just so you know. So, that is where we're at right now. These two are brothers. Holy shit, dog. So, there's a YouTube video. I could go ahead and put the link here in the description for you, and you guys can watch it. I'm sure that it explains everything I just said in more detail for you. So I will go ahead and put that in the chat. You're welcome there. There you go. It should end up in there. There you go. I don't know if you'll be able to get it, but there you go. So yeah, dude. Holy shit. So anyway, let's get to it. King of the Jews. I think that we've kind of established that that's probably just because Epstein and Jeffrey and, like Donald, did they hang out in the 80s? Let's find out. Yes. Jeffrey Epstein and Donald hung out in the 80s. They began in the late 80s, though. Okay, so they kind of knew about, I guess Jeffrey may have knew about him, but that was about it. Huh. Okay, well, it's hard to really draw a parallel there. That's crazy. He wrote a book about this guy before they even, talked. Wow. So anyway, that's how Jeffrey Epstein ended up in a trilateral commission and everything else. Dude, he's a communist. He is a communist. And, that is, it makes a lot of sense. So now we got the airship, of course, this airship. Now, this is a weird one. I ain't going to lie. Because it has 45 and 47 on this airship. So it's like, how did that happen? Mysterious airship. It was named Trump. 100-year-old sketch. And this time traveler spirit kind of theory got sparked. There's a futuristic aircraft by this artist named Charles Deschaux. It was a Prussian immigrant who came to the U.S. in 1850, and he died in 1923. So there's mysteriously a word Trump, and even featured the number 47, the number of presidents that he has had. And it also had 45 on there as well, on a different one. So, of course, it gets into the fact that, it starts talking about Ingersoll Lockwood's book. So let's go ahead and start talking about that too, because that was going to be the next thing I kind of got into. And we should talk about Ingersoll Lockwood's connection with Mark Twain and Tesla. And the brother of the man who killed Abraham Lincoln. They were all connected. So before his death, Deschaux created depictions of fantastical flying machines that he called arrows, which often resembled a mix of early airships and balloons with primitive airplanes. So, however, conspiracy theorists have seized on the repeated appearance of Trump's name. So the extraordinary theory has also been connected to this old novel Ingersoll Lockwood wrote, which talks from the 1800s, which features a young character who was named Baron Trump. He embarked on incredible adventures with a wise mentor named Don. So in the Lockwood's books, Baron lives in a grand palace that is called Castle Trump, and it is guided by Don. So this adds even more intrigue to the theory that America's first family was foretold decades before the president's birth. So some have claimed that the artist and author had mysterious method of knowing the future. Others claimed without evidence that the similarities prove the Trump family itself is able to travel through time and has the technology. It's funny they say with no evidence, like John G. Trump didn't get Tesla's equipment. Like, that's so funny they say with no evidence. It's almost like they're trying to get you to be like, to say what I just said. So one person on social media claimed either Trump is a time traveler or someone put in 200 years of work to make a guy who wasn't born yet look like he is one. See what I mean? I mean, I get it, but you could just put one word on an airship and there we go. Somebody knows about it and they go, oh, look, Trump's a time traveler. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being too sadistic. Maybe it's real. All right, well, so according to the American visionary U.S. Maryland, Deschaux' fictitious arrows were powered by anti-gravity substance he envisioned. Wow. It was an NB gas or soup that enabled them to fly without normal fields. See how this connects to the UFO phenomenon that I'm trying to explain? These missing scientists. I'll show Amy Eskridge talking about these aliens that travel through time and how we have the same tech. And of course, this gets into Disclosure, the Age of Disclosure documentary, and the Spielberg movie that's coming out, which mostly talks about channeling with these deities. And of course, Trump said he's going to disclose UFOs and just have UFO disclosure this year. Let me pull that up. So this is all happening at one time, and I think that for a reason. So Trump signals major UFO disclosure is coming soon. This was 3 days ago. So right after the shooting, right after the shooting, he's saying he's going to disclose aliens soon. Isn't that funny? The technology is eerily similar to the descriptions of UFOs, which the governments call unidentified anomalous phenomenon. The President Trump has vowed to disclose to the American people. So these sketches included one showing a golden-haired figure steering a machine labeled with the number 45, another link to the Trump serving as the 45th president. The mystery surrounding the Deschaux sketches has sent conspiracy theorists searching for every possible clue that Trump and his youngest son, Barron, could have traveled through time. One quote that has gained attention is Trump saying, "I know things that other people don't know." He does say things So apparently his granddaughter Kai was asked by Logan Paul whether or not it was proof that the human race was living in a virtual simulation. The teen said she was certain that Barron was not a time traveler, adding, "I don't go down those rabbit holes. I don't go down those rabbit holes." That's indicating, hey, these are psyops being ran on the people, dude. I don't play around like that. See how she knows better? So I'm just saying, man, like we know about 4chan, QAnon, the connection with MAGA, the connection with Steve Bannon, the connection with Jeffrey Epstein trying to build the conspiracy theorist movement into this certain direction. I think the Trump administration is utilizing that to their advantage, trying to make you think he's special. There's anomalous things that you need to look at because it points to something else that's going on, when in reality, they're just messing with us. Now, I want to explain something else. And this is really important, I think, whenever it comes to what I'm trying to talk about here. So, a long time ago, during the Mayan and Incan times, we know that they would get people to sacrifice children because they understood science and things about nature that we didn't. And so they would do things like during an eclipse, they would say, the gods will make the sun go away if you don't sacrifice your child, right? And so my point is, when you look at plasma technology, like orbs, and you look at these things, I think it's our government and the elites that be, whatever, who are manipulating the science to get us to believe in this crazy stuff. When in reality, like light beings and angels that are made of light, like this plasma. Yes, it's real, but also how much of this is being done by them to get us to believe something else is going on? Point being, when you understand an eclipse and the rest of the masses don't, you're able to manipulate them into doing crazy stuff. When you understand plasma technology, you can do the same thing. When you understand anti-gravity, you can do the same thing. So I'm just trying to point out that we have to use our critical, thinking here. Like, they're using science against us, I think, to manipulate our beliefs and senses. So about a week after the shooting, Trump saying that there's going to be a major UFO disclosure coming soon. Great. But first, before I move on from Ingersoll Lockwood's book, let's look Ingersoll Lockwood, Tesla, and Edward Booth, Player Club. So there's something called the Player Club that was started by a man named Edward Booth. Edward Booth, New York City. Edward Booth is the brother of John Wilkes Booth, okay? Edward Booth is a Mason, a master Mason, I believe. Let's look that up. Edward Booth, Player Club. Make sure we get the right guy. New York City. Okay, so it might pull that up, but we should be able to find that he was. So anyway, Edward Booth was a pretty prominent Mason during his time. It probably brings that up somewhere in here. He was a Shakespearean actor, which is a Masonic. We already know that. So anyway, so the Player Club, okay, is a private social club founded in New York City in the 19th Shakespearean actor Edwin Booth. The club is located in a mansion at Gramercy Park, built in 1847. Booth bought the house in 1888. He preserved an upper floor for his residence and then turned the rest into a clubhouse. The building's interior and part of its exterior were designed by architect Stanford White. Its entryway gas lights are among the few remaining examples in New York City. So pretty much it's a clubhouse. Very popular people went there. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Of course, there's a portrait of John Wilkes Booth, the assassin of Abraham Lincoln, that hung in Edwin Booth's suite with the letter that Edwin wrote the public apologizing for the actions of his brother. How crazy is that, guys? So people that were involved with this place, so let's get down to the people that were involved with this place. So we have, of course, this is all about like William Shakespeare, actor. It's like Bohemian. It's like a Bohemian Grove in New York. So this is where a lot of people go and hang out. So membership, let's get down to here. Okay, so we have, where is who I'm looking for here? So Tesla was a member, and so was Ingersoll Lockwood. Let me look that up. So Ingersoll Lockwood and Tesla were members of this club called the Player Club. Let me try to find it. Why is it being so hard to find? Okay, so how about I do it this way? Ingersoll Lockwood, Player Club member. Sometimes you got to look it up separate. Isn't that crazy? Okay, here we go. Including the club emphasizes peaceful. Okay. Ingersoll Lockwood. Come on, dude. The author. Okay, so let's see here. He was in, dude, why is this so hard to find? This guy was in the Player Club. I had like a whole list of everybody that was in it. I got an idea. We'll go to the Player Club, NYC. Watch this. We'll find this motherfucker. Player Club. They make it really hard to get to, guys. Players Club, the Players. It was called the Players. This is like a secret club, dude. I'm telling you, this has to be like one of those clubs that still has prominent people, because it talks about having prominent people today. I think this is like, they don't want people looking at this, dude. I'm telling you, like, this is something different. This is it right here. Okay. This is it right here. Look at this. I can't even get in. Be our guest. No, I'm good. I'm good, dude. All right. Let's see if we can find the menu bar. In the menu bar, we can figure out who the hell was in this. Look at this, dude. It doesn't matter. Oh, Mark Twain. Okay, here we go. Mark Twain is a member. He played there. That is Mark Twain. And then Tesla. Tesla was a member here. And maybe, so it was maybe both of them were members. And then Ingersoll Lockwood was friends with Mark Twain. So Tesla was a member of the Player Club in New York City as well. Let me see if I can find it here. Sorry, guys, this has been a little clunky here. Okay, so yeah, but either way, that's kind of what I'm trying to point out. So you have this three-way with the writer and Mark Twain through the Player Club, which, by the way, was opened by the brother of the assassin of Abraham Lincoln. What a weird circle that is, isn't it? That's just a crazy circle of things. So you have to believe in the implications of the Philadelphia experiment to believe that the Tesla equipment mattered enough for Trump to be a time traveler, or this is all a big psyop from the beginning, and they're backdating tweets. They're making things look like certain things that they aren't, and they're trying to psyop people into believing that we are, heading into this, new free energy world of time travel and everything else. Because one thing I wanted to point out to you guys was during the Montauk experiment, Camp Hero, Edward Cameron apparently worked on this atomic bomb. This was all channeled by this guy. It all ended up being debunked. But apparently they went up into the future, okay? And in the future, they landed at like 2137, all right? And they're channeling this, him and his brother. This is important. They say that nuclear war breaks out in the 2020s between Russia, China, and the West. Okay, so if the government knows that they're trying to gear up for this kind of war, to gear up for this in a certain area, they would plant this in somebody's head. So I think that this is being planted in his head during a mind control experiment, during the Montauk experiment. Okay, so we'll pull up Camp Hero, Montauk, and all this in a minute. So they went to 2749 a little bit later and discovered there was a utopia. And they said that it was tech in harmony with nature. There was free energy and no government. And AI was running everything. And that's kind of what I'm trying to point to, that they're trying to get us to. People in peace wanted for nothing. So these two people that were channeling and going there, Edward and Duncan, wanted to stay. So they lived in the future for 2 years. They came back and no time passed. So all this was mind control experiments. Ed Bielek kind of made it up. And let's go ahead and look it up. So, or Al Bielek. Let me pull him up. Time travel story. Let's look up Al Bielek's time travel story, guys. So I can point out another thing where it's just, again, Stephen Greer saying we're going to have free energy from these aliens. And then, of course, Al Bielek getting mind controlled by the CIA and saying that in the future we're going to be ran by an AI utopia and everything's going to be great. Right? I mean, that's exactly what we're building up to. So let's check this out. In this article, he talks about what he remembers about the future. He spent 6 weeks in the year 2137 and then went to the year 2749 and lived there for 2 years, just like I said. So for those who don't know, Project Montauk was a series of U.S. government projects that were done in Montauk on Long Island, researching and development for psychological warfare, guys. So this is not, it says psychological warfare techniques and time travel. Isn't that kind of a weird mix? Yeah, we're just trying to do psychological warfare, but we're also doing time travel on the side. Okay, dude. You're planting memories in people and you're psychologically doing warfare. So again, we're back to psyops. Bielek tells us what he remembers after jumping from the USS Eldridge. So he's connected to the Philadelphia experiment. He said he was on the USS Eldridge, jumps off, and he woke up with his brother Duncan Cameron in a future hospital. Remember earlier I mentioned that somebody said that they landed in a hospital during the Philadelphia experiment? Well, this is the guy. And they were recovered for 6 weeks from radiation injuries there. So the hospital used vibrational and light treatments because they're in the future. The TV of the future showed only educational programs and news. On the TV, he saw that the Earth had changed, many geographical changes, and the coast and interior of the USA and Europe were different from what they were today. The USA and Canada were no longer referred to as nations. The water level had risen greatly. The Earth's magnetic poles began to shift. It created an artificial pole structure to prevent magnetic poles. So they made an artificial pole structure to keep the poles together. So there's more information to write here, but the article will be blocked by Facebook, they say. So there's a video. So we could cut through a little bit of this video if you want. But yeah, this is this guy saying that he went to the future. But turns out none of these scientists that he were with, Edwin and all these people, he wasn't even with them. I don't know. It turns out that it's all kind of bullshit. So let's check some of this out.
Into what is called the red zone, which is basically what you would today call a felony offense. You were immediately called in for an interview. You were examined, looked at, talked to, and if the computer at that point thought that you were rehabilitable, that you could learn again to be sociable and within the social bounds of normalcy, you were given one more chance.
Isn't it odd that in the future, everything lines up with everything we talk about on this show? Oh, in the future, there's going to be AI that runs everything, and it's going to be, in harmony with nature, so it's no big deal. Because AI, it's smart enough to harmonize us with nature, but the thing is, you're going to have to be indoctrinated, as he's saying here, or else you can't be in society.
If the computer decides...
You have to be a part of the hive mind. It lines up with everything we talk about here, because that's the plan. This kind of stuff is to get us to think that this is an inevitability. The future, we have people that went to the future. They know what's going to happen. This is inevitable. It's not inevitable, guys. Anyway, I think we're the only people talking about or looking at it this way. And I wonder if you guys think I'm an asshole or just, I wonder if you guys think that I'm like, crazy, because of course, most conspiracy theorists don't want to hear this. They want to hear that like all this is real. The craziest stuff is happening. And I just don't think that that's necessarily the case.
That you were not capable of fitting into society. You were terminated right then and there. Now, there were other people who didn't feel like they could fit into the society, but had not yet committed any of the so-called offenses. Literally, they were allowed to leave. If the word was, if you don't like it here, go live somewhere else. Go out in the boonies if you want. Live as a hermit. We don't care. And many did. I do not know what percentage. I was told that quite a lot of people had left the cities and gone out in the boondocks.
That's what I do. I don't think they're going to actually let you do that. That's another way that you know this guy's full of shit. They're going to let you go out in the boonies.
Whether they form communities or not, I never did find out. If you weren't required to work, which no one was required to, other than their social obligation, which was well inculcated into the kids, that you had an obligation to contribute to society, to pay for what you have been using and had inherited, for which no money was involved. A sort of credit system was still functional, but otherwise, except for fairly large credit purchases, if that is the right term, they didn't really keep track of very much. It was considered quite free as long as you were able to make some contributions and nobody overloaded the system with demand.
Yeah, it's just a utopia. Sounds great. I mean, I don't think that that's, I mean, I would love for that to be real. So anyway, this is kind of my kind of analysis on a lot of this stuff with the time traveling. I think that a lot of this is, yeah, man, a lot of this is, you got to remember, right? Hollow Earth, the whole Hollow Earth theory came out at this time. The whole idea that like nuclear energy and the nuclear bomb brought in UFOs came out during this time. I think that again, they're learning how to manipulate plasma science and different things like that. And they're manipulating us into thinking that things are real that are really just them playing around with science. So again, it gets back to the old mystery Babylon fucking priests that knew when the eclipse would happen, and they would manipulate you into thinking that something's real that's not real based off a event that they have no control over. But in this case, they do have control over like these plasma technologies and things like that. So I think a lot of this is more of a psyop than we think. I think there's some reality to some of this, but I think a lot of this is like the wizard behind the curtain. And a lot of this is, don't look behind the curtain is essentially what we're looking at here. What do you guys think, huh? You guys think that, yeah, no, I'm not crazy. All right, that's what's up. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. I mean, the am I gay test. Yeah, dude, the AI is going to hit you with the am I gay test, dude. This guy can't be fixed. He likes cock too much. All right, sorry for anybody that's, doesn't like vulgar things. But either way, this is not, yeah, I don't know. This is not what they're saying it is, I think, if you ask me. So don't fall for it, guys. A lot of this is just psyops, man. A lot of these conspiracy theories have been perpetuated to get us to believe and confuse our reality. So again, remember in the beginning of me starting the show, one of the first things I said was I want to try to help dispel some confusion because people are waking up to see that we have been manipulated and there are real conspiracies, but there are a lot of confusing, sensationalist, conspiratorial content out there that we need to be wary of and discernment of. And so here we are. We're sitting here and analyzing the things that are getting pushed forward. And we're saying, it's funny how the conspiracy theorists have turned into the voice of reason. To me, that's very hilarious. And so here we are. We're trying to be the voices of reason. So off topic here. But people are posting this a lot. They're talking about a 2008 movie, film Eagle Eye, produced by Steven Spielberg. Of course, Steven Spielberg, the Laurel Canyon guy, he knows everything. He talks about an AI surveillance system 36 floors beneath the Pentagon. AI surveillance system. A film depicts a Pentagon-based supercomputer that tracks citizens via phones, cameras, banking data, and social media. It operates as an autonomous system using networked devices to monitor and control individuals in a national security scenario. So the White House ballroom, as we talked about, is going to be more of a command center with a bunker, AI, Palantir, digital temple command center. So here, let's check this out. That's kind of what I said before. And it's so funny, all the things that we talk about in here are coming true. So I love that every episode we do, we get to talk about things we already talked about and say, look, everybody else is saying this now. Because we talk about what they won't, should be. We talk about things before they do.
Hi, welcome to Circuit City. I'm Billy.
We just need some time alone.
Sure, we're having a sale.
Okay, Billy, I'll find you later. Thank you.
Emails received and sent. Cell phone usage. We utilize security, surveillance, and traffic cameras to analyze movements. We use this data to form personality profiles. We know who you are. We are everywhere.
What do you mean? Why do you keep saying we?
We, the people of the United States.
Where does the United States of America reside? Can you point to it on a map? No. It's the fucking Constitution, dude. And so, of course, that's why they feature it here, because that's the one thing standing in the way of this and us. And that's why we have to remain constitutional, Bill of Rights. That's it. I'm pretty much a full-on constitutionalist. I just kind of look at it like that's all we need. And really, we could strip away a lot of the shit on top of it. The executive orders, all the different things that we have to sign in every 2 years or 4 years to keep it going. Get rid of the IRS, the Fed. Get rid of all of it.
In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, all programmed options, sector searches, and downloaded points of data will lead to this central command.
You're a computer. Say hello to our autonomous reconnaissance intelligence integration analyst. We call her Aria.
She crunches all our raw intel, finds patterns, helps predict the movement of possible suspects right down.
Predictive policing, Minority Report, as somebody said in the chat. It reminded me of this. That's why I wanted to make sure to show this. But it's exactly what we talk about on the show all the time. The ballroom, the digital temple. This is all, it goes into the same thing here. I mean, we're all talking about the same thing whenever we talk about this. So, point being, somebody posted, I mean, this is just proof of what we've been talking about, but somebody posted this as a comment to that. And it's this hole in the ground.
About the U.S. Capitol, of course, this building, construction started in the 1700s, and
so this is a little hole for people to go through. I said this is where the boys that were prostituted during the Franklin scandal days, they had to go through here. And somebody commented, yeah, because none of these fat ass politicians are fitting through there, and that's a fact, dude. I mean, what are these guys? Am I supposed to believe these guys are going through that hole? Come on, dude. Get out of here. Come on. Am I supposed to believe that? So, on to a couple of, dude, he ain't fitting in that hole, Tim. Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. So, that was like, Franklin scandals, if you know about that, if you know about North Fox Island and the whole situation with, the boys, the call boy situation to the White House during the Nixon and Reagan administration. They were probably bringing those boys in through there. The call boy tunnels. That's exactly right, Birdman. And I always try to have the pulse on things, waiting for kings. And, the thing is, it's because I try not to stay attached to any beliefs. I'm always just looking at what are they trying to tell me? What's the narrative out today? Because we know that right now we're in info war, mind war. That's where we're at. So I'm like, all right, what are they trying to tell me? And fucking, I'm on the next step, like trying to take the next logical conclusion past that they're trying to lead us. And that's all you can do out here, man. That's really all you can do. So I do want to point out What was I going to say? Yeah, Alex Jones, he was putting out that, it's his last episode and last video. And, I was just putting on there. I was like, nah, man, you guys can listen to 6G Agenda, dude. And, got CIA in the family like you do with Tucker Carlson or Alex Jones. Both of them have CIA in the family. And we're supposed to believe that these are our saviors and these are the people that are going to bring us the real freedom that we're looking for, and they're anti-globalist, anti-establishment. People don't get it. So let's look at Tucker. People are tearing apart Tucker right now for a video or an interview he did with New York Times. So we might as well check that out while we're doing this. He's saying that, Trump's really powerful and things like that. Let's check him out.
JD has been subject to, this is well known, but I'll just confirm it, nonstop treachery.
JD has been subject to nonstop treachery. So whenever I say that Tucker is backing the technocratic system, Peter Thiel backed JD Vance and Tucker is backing him, and he had his son working for JD Vance, and he's acting like he's separate from Trump, but he does back JD Vance and he does back the Technate. He talked about taking over Canada and Mexico. He does support the Technate. Do not trust this man, dude. He is acting as the savior that goes against Trump and goes against the Zionist regime, because the left and right are both against this Zionist regime, and they know the way to capture the youth is go against the Zionist regime, and they capture them, and then you install the AI technocratic government.
From people on the neoconservative side.
Who are these people?
Around Marco Rubio. And they had been totally against JD Vance from the very beginning.
Who do you mean specifically?
He's talking about Zionists, but he doesn't want to say it on here. But he's talking about Zionists 100%. And he knows that the young people will get what he's dog whistling right here.
I don't know is the real answer. I don't know.
Accusing people of treachery, so I'm wondering.
Well, I know there's been a lot of treachery for sure. And I know they were so mad about JD getting that job. I mean,
who's they? Within the White House?
I don't know the answer to that. I've never worked there. So like, if you don't work there, you can say, you can say what you think you know, but it's hard to really know.
This is me looking skeptical.
Yeah, well, no, but it's me being honest. Like, I don't really know.
Dude, honestly, whenever he's pushed, he really doesn't have answers. I mean, he's not really good and that's why he only has people that agree with him on his show, because he knows that that's what he has to do in order to really push the propaganda that he's trying to push. So, he is a clown, man, Birdman. And the thing is, like, I listen to everything. There is no good guys, dude. I mean, you got small guys that are, community like we're building here, and like, like you could build locally, and that's about all you have. I also want to point this out that came out recently. 1 second here. I just think this is hilarious, dude. I tried to explain this, earlier, and exactly what I'm telling you guys. It's exactly what I'm talking to you guys about. But this just goes to show. I want to show you guys that we are in the minority right now. Okay, I just want to point that out. So we are in the minority right now. 1 second here. So this is the Alex Jones episode here. Did I mention that, it's the last one and everything? I said, nah, check out 6G Agenda. We talk about what they want. P.S. There are no CIA feds in the family, unlike Alex Jones and Tucker. So here, let's check this out. This was the last episode for Alex Jones. 27 years. InfoWars ended. By the way, what a funny name, InfoWars, as we now know, looking back, about Mind Wars. How did Alex Jones know to name it that 27 years ago?
These guys that direct us, we are commit ourselves to God in this holy fight, and we are committed. And if God stands with us, who can stand against us? And that's how I close out. So I salute you all. What a crew. The hell we've been through has only made us stronger. Let me ask you, would you have it any other way? Are you not stronger now in this fight? Yeah. I salute this crew and all the viewers and listeners to this fight, and I commit myself to Jesus Christ's hands.
He's such an actor, dude. He's like over here slamming a drink right after saying I'm going to Jesus Christ's hands. He's fucking slamming a drink. That's hilarious.
God bless the InfoWar. Woo! You are the InfoWar. It lives forever. We're going to play Frank Sinatra Blue Eyes and come back with the great Tom.
Blue Eyes. What a funny choice of songs to play. Okay, so anyway, so I had this guy, this douche here. He was like, "You have a voice because of what he pioneered. Have some respect." What would you guys say to that? I don't usually, engage, but I was like, I have a voice because of the Constitution. And when speaking of pioneers in this space, I refer you to Bill Cooper, who, when he was alive, predicted 9/11 and called out Alex Jones for being a Fed. He was killed. Lately, it seems, per usual, Bill was way over the target about Jones. Of course, Ben hopped in, hanging out, He criticizes Trump daily, talk about propaganda. Apparently, you've had your daily dose because he can't spit propaganda for Trump anyway. Anyone who's listening to him knows better. And, I talked about how I listen to every episode of what Tucker Carlson says and how I know it's a little bit hard for him to understand. But these people are being put here to lead us to this third savior party, to capture us and bring us into this AI technocratic government. And it's probably just way over these people's heads. And that's just how it is, dude. What up, hot mess? How you doing? Can't stand him either. Tuck knows, dude. He knows it all. Info whores. Joe Rogan's booker. Dude, Tim, I've been wondering who his booker is, dude. Thank you for that. Matt Staggs. He owns the disinformation company. I'm not surprised, dude. Because I just the other day was thinking about looking into who the booker was for Joe Rogan, because I know that's got to be, I mean, Joe Rogan practically sucks the guy's dick. He's like, oh, I only have people on I want on. My booker's great. It's like, yeah, okay, dude. So wait a minute. Is this the same guy that wrote these books? Hold on a second. Is Matt Staggs the same guy that wrote these books here? Do we need to read the books that this guy wrote? You could tell a lot about a man whenever you read books he wrote, especially if he's connected to. Is this the same Matt Staggs? He write books? Eradication, all about Eve? The complete behind-the-scenes story of the bitchiest film ever made. Who is this? Is this the same person that we're talking about here? Matt Staggs. Matt Staggs. Let's see here. Joe Rogan's booker. We're off on a little tangent now. But yeah, that was my time travel episode. I mean, listen, it's nothing that you guys haven't heard because the propaganda is crazy. What I'm doing is taking a different angle to the stuff that we've all heard about the time travel situation. I will do a deep dive on the Philadelphia experiment, as well as Tesla, as well as I'll involve the Camp Hero in it. I've already done the Montauk with silent weapons. All right, so Matt Staggs, this guy here. Yeah, the Joe Rogan booker. So is he a writer? Did he write the books that I was like, that's what I'm curious about. The books that I found? It seems like this might be the same. Yeah, dude. I mean, this got to be essayist, journalist, talented booker, and researcher. Is he the author of those books, though? That's what I'm wondering. So I can find out what his books talk about. Let's see here. More to explore. How do we find out about this guy, huh? How do we find out more about Matt Staggs? I bet he's rich, dude. Book him for Joe Rogan. Crazy. You can find his wiki page for the Disinformation Company. What do you mean, Disinformation Company? Is it literally called Disinformation Co.? Look up the Disinfo Co. You got to be fucking kidding me. They literally call it Disinfo Co. Get the fuck out of here. Hold on. Disinfo Co. Shut the fuck up. I mean, there's no way, dude. Hold on here. Okay, New York City, Telecom, Getty Museum. What the fuck is this? Okay, dude. Let's look into this, dude. Ask the AI. I refuse, Jeezy. I don't research with AI. I refuse. Even though the co-pilot pulls that shit up automatically on Disinfo Co. Matt Staggs. Just to see if AI pulls something up there, huh? Okay, let's see here. All right, Disinformation Company Limited. Privately held, limited American publishing company until 2012 when it was sold to the Red Wheel Weiser Canary. What the fuck is that? Disinformation Books. It's a publishing company. Llewellyn Worldwide, oldest American publishers, concentrate almost exclusively on the genre. Conspiracy theorists, cryptids, and fringe subjects. Well, that's on point, isn't it? Founded by Ron Fry. Canary Books has been a separate publisher, Berkeley, California. Spiritual, New Age, sociology, parenting issues. Okay. Disinformation book. I love how it's called Disinformation Books. And it's got Neoplatonism, Pythagorean, Gnosticism, Sufism. This is great. It's exactly what you would expect from a publishing company that is pushing disinformation. Wicca Theosophical Society. Here it is. So I guess I'm missing this guy. Like, who is this guy? I guess that's what I'm wondering. Is Matt Gaetz on here? Key people. This president, CEO, Matt Staggs. Yep. You're right, dude. Okay. So let's go to the website. We're going to do a whole episode on this. This is crazy. I can't get on here without putting in my information. Oh, hell no. You're out of your fucking mind, dude. There's no way I'm going to do that. Fuck you. How about that? So let's look into this then. In 1996, telecommunications, now Comcast, funded a Hollywood-based internet initiative responsible for online projects like the Getty Museum. The Getty Museum. There's something on my laptop. An internet-based political humor soap opera entitled Candidate 96. The initiative launched its own and interactive website. Everything you know is wrong was a tagline on it, and soon after the site's launch, it was canceled funding for the supporting site. Alrighty, so this is crazy, dude. Richard Metzger. Is he related to Kurt Metzger? No. He's not, right? Probably not. Well, now I got to look that up. Probably not, right? But wouldn't it be weird if would that mean that Kurt Metzger is clearly, I don't know. This is just some crazy shit, guys. Are these two related? Like, I need to find out. All right, what's this guy's name? Richard Metzger. Let's see if these guys are related. Probably not. No, they're not. Okay, cool. But one of them's an occult esoteric commentator, creator of disinformation. And then Kurt Metzger, of course, we know who that is. Well, that's just crazy. Rock musician Marilyn Manson was involved in this. Kenneth Anger. Oh my God. So this is Crowley ties? Grant Morrison. Wow. So wait a minute, dude. So did Joe Rogan have ties, of course, past his booker to this disinformation company? Like how about the Satanists? Were there Satanists involved with the disinformation company? That Joe Rogan, because we know that Joe Rogan was at that one Satanist wedding, and he even like Anton LaVey's son or something. So let's see here. This is really wild, guys. I'm gonna have to look into this and do this in another time here. But definitely they have a shared ecosystem for sure. So the guests that come on to Joe Rogan's are brought on by a man who's heavily involved by this company, which literally had Kenneth Anger. Kenneth Anger, guys. I mean, you guys remember who that is, right? Look, Kenneth Anger. Series on Thelema, The Rights of Man, Aleister Crowley, all involved with this, right? We should look into these other people that were involved with this and see what else they were involved with. Like the Scarlet Woman of Aleister Crowley. Look at this, Lila Waddell. There's all kinds of people to be looking into over here. Priestess. Got this guy, psychologist, writer, New Falcon Publications. Look how quickly you can find some people that are involved with some wild shit that were also involved with Crowley. So anyway, Kenneth Anger, who worked on a lot of projects like Scorpio Rising, Hollywood Babylon, which detailed the purported scandals of famous Hollywood denizens from 1900s to the 1950s. Now, again, he's working for Disinfo Company at this time, right? So this is just great. Or no, that's 1965. So that would have been before he was working there. But he made a sequel to Lucifer Rising. Lucifer Rising is a movie that he made with Aleister Crowley that kind of showed that the UFOs are going to be the new, I guess the new, what would you call it? Like the new gods. There's a hymn to Lucifer in that movie. Anger began to search for a young man to personify Lucifer for this film, and he found this one guy. I thought maybe it would bring up the fact that, the early footage starring Beausoleil was instead used in a different film. One of these scenes featured Anton LaVey, Church of Satan and founder of the LaVeyan Satanist movement. Anger met through the California occult scene. So this is all like connected with, Charles Manson shit. You know what I mean? Like, of course, you got that kind of in there too. So this is it. There's a lot to get into here. We're gonna have to do this on a separate time. But Joe Rogan's whole sphere is very suspect now that you just told me about that, dude. Yo, shout out Tim, man. Tim, good job, dude. That was fire, dude. That was fire, dude. I hope not. Kurt Metzger's dad. I'm dead. Is it? Wouldn't that be funny if it was? That'd be crazy. Yeah, the logo. Man, dude. This is some crazy, crazy shit. So later on, we're gonna, dude, you're right, man. I've seen the Aleister Crowley, Joe Rogan kind of looking alike thing. So we're gonna definitely dig into this Disinfo Company and connections with all this stuff. So good job, Tim. That was awesome. You are welcome. Yeah, this is why the aliens, the demons, the whole like pushing of these conspiracies, getting you to believe in time travel, getting you to believe in alien technology, disinformation company coming through with the theosophical occultists and everybody else that are on Joe Rogan's show, all pushing forward for these narratives. And for a long time, I believed in a lot of this stuff. And here I am, pretty much getting rid of everything I believed in and realizing a lot of this has been a psyop to get me to fall into a Luciferian doctrine. So, wow. Good job, guys. We all do this together, man. We all work together. Man, we got 40 people in here. That's pretty fire. As soon as we ended the last stream, we had like 150 views. So that's pretty fire, man. How about this? Everybody go like, follow, subscribe, do the whole thing, share around. And I'm going to put this in the members right after, and it'll be out here later this week. I will get this on Patreon as soon as possible. Watching a show on Joe Rogan's gay tendencies. Dude, I was thinking about that whenever I was watching him kiss Mark Normand on that new Protect Our Parks episode. Morpheus, he's late. Here, let me, Joe Rogan on this recent, let me find this clip where he was talking about the missing scientist. Morpheus, do you have a membership? Just curious. All right, let's pull up this clip of the missing scientist. Joe Rogan was talking about this. Let's see here if we could pull this up. He says something funny about the Kekius Maximus frog. Like, he says something kind of funny about it. He's like, oh, that's those knuckleheads or whatever. Like, he doesn't know what it is. All right, hold on here. So, I'll pull this up real quick. You do on Patreon? Okay. Oh, okay. I'll leave. You know what? I'm leaving this one free. I'm leaving it free. I love you guys. I'm leaving it free. Just because, dude, I've been putting in a lot of work. So I'll leave this one out there. The time travel episode needs to be out there right now anyways, because the time travel episode is pretty important, I think, because everybody's talking about it. I don't want to wait a week and a half for people to hear this anyway. So it's fine. It's not going to be on the free feed anywhere or anything for a couple days or at least a week, but it will be on YouTube on the live section. So you guys got it. Hey, love you guys. Thanks for loving my work. I do what I can. Right on, everybody. Okay, so let me pull this up for you. This is a clip I was watching the other day. Let's check this out.
We were joking around about it in the green room. Imagine if she was like, I know I fucked up way back in July, but look, guys, I'm better. Yeah. I've been working out. Yeah. It's missing. The background is, just wrote Cole Allen from 2023. The profile belongs to Henry Martinez, a NASA scientist who's
2023 could have been backdated by X, by people that own X, like Elon Musk. Maybe he made this account. Maybe he, with the Trump administration is working on this psychological warfare, because we know that X has signed a deal to push propaganda for the White House administration through X. And I can show you the deal that was made if you'd like. I'm sure you guys have seen it by now, hopefully, but I'll show it to you.
Missing. The background image from a website called Time Machine. If you de-digitize it, the 2024 assassination attempt photos appears, but with a hole in the head instead of the ear. The profile picture is a green toad in a tuxedo with a glass, exactly like Trump in the assassination attempt. Either it's the most elaborate psyop in history, or someone from the future is leaving clues in the past that only make sense once the events happen. Okay.
Why does time travelers keep trying to kill me?
But wait a minute. How is that picture the same? That is not the same. That's just a bunch of colors, and you could decide it's the same.
No, you got to decode it.
Oh, it's like a magic code.
You got to squeeze your eyes together.
Right.
It appears if you squeeze your eyes together.
Sailboat. What do you like? Sailboat, one of those things where you could see like words in a.
Yeah, it was always a sailboat or a guitar.
Right. Always. Up there. Mallrats.
Do you think that makes sense, Jamie?
This picture part of it does not make a lot of sense, I don't think.
But it is weird that the guy is strange. The tweet is nuts.
Yeah, the tweet is strange enough.
2 years ago. So he's trying to work up the courage for
3 years.
See? I mean, I don't know, man. I just don't believe it. But whatever. And he does mention the Kekius Maximus photo, so let's go ahead and let that play out too. I think Joe Rogan knows more about the whole Kekius Maximus thing. He's literally friends with Elon Musk, guys. Of course he knows about the whole 8chan, 4chan propaganda. He's involved with it, right? We just went over the disinfo company. So let's look at this, him playing ignorant here.
23, yeah.
Yeah, and then the fact that it's a frog, it's one of those Kek guys.
Right.
Those nutty fucking pranksters. Well,
those nutty fucking pranksters. Dude, come on, man. I mean, I hear this stuff and I listen to these guys' shows and I hear this stuff and I go, oh, yep, he's playing stupid.
Funny if he was just tried to search somebody's name. he just got it right. He just nailed it. Cool.
All right, anyway, so that's kind of the gist of it, you know what I mean? But that's kind of what I'm pointing out is that the narratives are being set, right? It's, oh, this is weird. What's going on? Hold on, let me stop sharing before I go to my YouTube here or Gmail. I have something else to show you. Just to prove what I was saying a minute ago. Let me show you this. Oops. Let me show you this. Okay. Here we go. So as of early 2026, government influencers and propaganda on X has evolved into a prominent tool for political narratives ranging from domestic political battles to foreign influence. So it's saying U.S. State Department X in 2026, March, U.S. diplomats were directed to use X and partner with military psychological operations unit to counter foreign hostility and anti-American propaganda. So this includes using crowdsource features like the community notes to combat disinformation. So right-wing online personalities are increasingly collaborating directly with the government entities. These are moving from social media commentary into active roles in shaping political narratives. So this is the movements like Tucker Carlson pushing him forward, all these different things. Remember the other day when I talked about Mo Mohammed on X Spaces, and I was trying to tell you guys about how they are on X Spaces, they are pushing this like super radical anti-Jew kind of movement, this almost resurgence of Nazism, this right-wing whatever. That's what I'm pointing out, man, is that, and it's finally coming out and people are pointing it out as well. And so it's, it's very crazy. But yeah, guys, I mean, so we see that they're using community notes and using X to push propaganda. And we know that happened in March, and now we have this shooting, and it seems like this could be part of that same thing, right? So I think it's important to, check that out, obviously, and look at that. So one more thing to pull up, and then we're done, and I will go to the chat. I'm about to go to the chat here, so hold on. Let me play this real quick. She breaks it down pretty well. She's a good follow. 1 second.
So fucking. Hey guys, I want to let you know what I found out here because we are so fucking cooked. Okay, 16 days, 2 weeks and 2 days after the State Department shut down a office that was meant for tracking foreign information and disinformation campaigns, Secretary of State Marco Rubio signed a classified cable that may have
Hey, I want to point
something
something out. Why isn't it pausing?
PSYOP operation program. So
okay, I want to point something out here. This guy Ian Malcolm, the Ian Malcolm guy that posted this, he's posting that America is putting out disinformation propaganda on X, but it's super ironic because this is one of those people who are friends with this truth teller guy, Mo Mohammed, the guy I told you about. I think I unfollowed him, so you won't find him in here. But Mo Mohammed, oh, here he is. Truth teller. See this guy? So this guy, truth teller, is who I told you about, Mo Mohammed. Okay. Well, this Ian Malcolm guy, of course, he's going to tell us about America pushing propaganda because he's involved with foreign propagandists. And so I think that that's interesting. Okay. And as you can see, there's a lot of people that follow him that, you know, like Ryan Dawson, macroaggressions, Charlie Robinson, right? So these people obviously are not thinking the way I am about this guy. A lot of people, even in our groups. So that's what I'm trying to point out. Like, dude, most conspiracy theorist people that you guys are listening to are not finding out this stuff that I'm talking about. Like, I'm just pointing out, like, just saying. So most of these conspiracy theorists, like, they're just going right along with the propaganda. And so just beware. But this truth teller guy right here is exactly who I was talking about. And as you can see, he has Mexico. His account's based in Mexico today. It was Ecuador the other day. But as you can see, it's a Canadian app store. He is, you know, the guy that I'm saying that he is Mo Mohammed, who's in Vancouver. Vancouver in the clubs, during COVID, right? So this is him right here. And so he poses, I said this in another episode, he poses as an American white Christian, but he's actually not American, not white, not Christian, probably. And he lives in Canada, and he clearly got in a bunch of trouble during COVID, $3 million luxury condo. And so he probably got funded to go on X and push the propaganda he's pushing now, which is anti-Jew, anti-Zionist rhetoric, which a lot of it I agree with. But it leads to people thinking Iran and China are good countries and better than America, and that Israel and America are the biggest issues in the world. And yeah, we got problems, but they're trying to get us to pretty much revolt on our country. So beware of the propaganda, guys. That's all I'm trying to say. Man. Shout out to the new members, guys. Shout out to Hot Mess. Thank you for becoming a member. And Gay Lord Fokker. That's your name. I didn't call you that. Thank you for joining. And King of Kings, my man, thank you very much, sir. And I will keep it up. We are out here trying to do the Lord's work, and we're out here trying to get the shit out there and think about critical analysis and actually not just be fed propaganda by our favorite talking heads, including myself. As you can see, I'm trying to lay out this critical analysis with you, and I'm not just trying to spew narratives and tell you what to think. I'm just trying to show you where my mind is going. And that's why sometimes this may be hard to listen to, because it's really just a journey through my thought process. So anyway, time traveler shit's probably propaganda. Most of the influencers you like and follow propaganda. We know everything's fake and gay. This is nothing new under the sun. Thank you, guys. Morpheus, you're the man. I'm going to leave this shit out for you. If you switch it, you have to keep it for 14 days. What are we talking about? Yeah, I got a bad feeling about Ryan Dawson kind of too, but hey, we just had him on, and I'm, friend of the show. I'm not saying nothing bad, at all. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. They're doing all that so you don't see the Jews are really the Ashkenazis. Yeah, dude. I got half Ashkenazi in me, dude. So, it's not everybody, but hey, it is most of them. It's the atheist Jews. And to be honest with you, I got a cross tattooed on my arm whenever I was really young because I rejected my Jewish heritage at a young age. So, as you can see here, See how it's green? Look, I have a 3-leaf clover, and so it's green. So my green screen behind me, it actually captures my tattoo. Look at this. It's pretty dope. It's a Celtic cross. It's a Celtic cross, and some say this is the pagan cross. But hey, it's a cross nonetheless. Kiss my ass. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for liking to hear me think. I appreciate that. You know, that was the biggest hurdle in making the show was like, will people even want to hear this? Will people even want to hear me talk or think out loud? You know? So anyway, bunch of control opposition. Everything's fake and gay. Thank you so much, dude. You guys are great. I appreciate you guys. Praise Jesus. That's right, King of Kings. You guys are all wonderful. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Sunday night. Tomorrow, Mind Wars with William Ramsey will be around 6 p.m. I hope you guys can tune in. We're going to be doing part 3, wrapping it up, getting into Mindstar and Find Far, the last 2 books he wrote. And we will be finishing that up. So thank you. And then Mystery Babylon and Disinfo Co. is another thing I got to get into now with Joe Rogan and all these Satanists. So this is crazy, guys. It just never ends. It never ends. Morpheus says that he found me 40 episodes in and he binged me. Right on, dog. That's awesome, dude. I appreciate you. I just try to keep it real, man. I just try to be myself. And that's all I ever am and have been. Thank you, guys. Happy Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you tomorrow. We have been going back to back. So that's pretty awesome. Dictative. I've never seen your name before I go. Shout out Dictative. Refreshing to hear somebody real on here. Much appreciated. I appreciate you guys. You stay safe. Stay head up. Later.